Yo people, welcome back to another review. This time Deadpool and Wolverine. We all heard the hype. Marvel really focused on this film for the whole year. It put all their eggs in this basket, and regardless of what anyone says, this film cannot flop in the eyes of the general masses in this new Tik Tok attention span era that we're living in. For those people that just want everything quick and just event after event, cameo after cameo, this film is probably a 9 out of 10 for you. Don't question anything and just enjoy. A very easy lifestyle to have. But we don't do that over here. For me, this film was a 6.5 out of 10, so better than average basically. So let's begin with the good. Hugh Jackman, just him acting, getting to be Wolverine, everything was good with that. The scene where he just rages at Deadpool when he's in the car, that was probably my favorite acting scene from this movie. Finally, Hugh Jackman just gets to be in the MCU, in a project, and he deserves it the most after being in the trenches with those Fox X-Men films and just getting sacrificed back in those times. And like I said, his character was fine. However, because it's a Deadpool movie, I feel like we couldn't really explore the dark moments in depth because that's just not the tone of the movie. Everything has to be a joke. The next good thing was Deadpool's charisma and just all the energy that Ryan Reynolds gives to the role. He's pretty entertaining even if the movie was just Deadpool's day to day. So I guess well done for keeping everyone entertained, keeping the energy up there. And the dialogue was good for the most part. I did have some issues, but I'll talk about that later on. I like the scene where Deadpool is trying to find a Wolverine and we come across all the different iconic Wolverines from the comics. That was probably my favorite scene overall for the movie. And I do also have to respect that they allowed Deadpool to shit all over the current MCU multiple times. They were saying about how things have been trash in the MCU and how the multiverse thing isn't working, and it's that type of self-awareness that I've been talking about on the channel. And if they now act upon such self-awareness, then the MCU can only improve, which I hope they do so. Lastly, the cameos were cool. I was most hyped for Gambit, and then they made him kind of like a meme, but it is what it is. We'll probably get a different actor for when Gambit actually arrives. It was also good to see Blade as well. That was a shock for me. I knew Electro was going to be in it, I knew X-23 was going to be in it, so those weren't shocks. Johnny Storm as well, he was cool, that was a good one to see as well, until they decided to dunk on him. That's two Fantastic Four characters that have been dunked on by witches. Now let's move on to the bad, and let's start with the villain. Way too OP. I don't like these magical characters because a lot of the times there's just no way of controlling their power levels. They've done an okay job with Thor, for example. Doctor Strange, he was doing alright, and then they've trashed him recently, and now Cassandra just way too much. For example, she was only nice to them because it felt like the plot said that she had to be nice. She's literally a psycho. Why would she strike a deal with the heroes just because they stopped her from dying? In normal people's eyes, that makes sense. But for her, that's just not something that she would even do. Like I said, she's a psycho. She has no morals. She doesn't care about anything. She just wants to destroy or enslave, basically. But suddenly, she changes her ways because she got a little pep talk. Even then, like 5 minutes later, she goes and becomes the villain again and wants to destroy the multiverse anyway, so what was the point? My other problem was that the film was way too overkill, no pun intended. Way too much of the sexual jokes, for example, like in Deadpool 1 and 2, I know these are things that happen, but this one just felt like they raised the bar even higher with that kind of stuff. And it felt like Deadpool just had to mention something about sticking it in or anal or bashing or stuff of that nature. Even that car fight that they had, they made it look like they were fucking all night and the whole car was shaking, there was slight groaning. Then it's the next day, they're sleeping next to each other, they're laying down. We know they were fighting, but it looked like they were trying to insinuate other things. So just things like that, they needed to kind of tone it down. Make jokes in other ways. It can be dark, it can be whatever you want, but the sexual thing was just crazy. Another one was when Wolverine puts on the mask. We finally see the mask after, I don't know, 20 years. And then Deadpool just ruins it by saying something about his mask and blowjobs and shit like I don't know. It was just unnecessary. Another issue, the fight with the Deadpools. Absolutely useless. And they basically made Wolverine wear the mask with the rest of the suit for the first time ever in a fight that didn't matter because that mustache guy just came in randomly on his bike and all the Deadpools just hyped him up and the fighting stopped. I would have personally made Wolverine wear the mask when he hops out of the trunk, when they finally get to Cassandra's lair, X-23, Blade, all of them, and then he comes in last minute like he did, but he has the mask on. I think that would have been way better. If you want to really extend the scene, make him have a couple of fights, he scratches a couple people, and that's it. My next dislike was the collage, flashback, mind reading scenes that they would do for Deadpool in particular. They were trying to like recap the other two films, but it's done so poorly, it just didn't feel right, it felt very rushed, and ultimately it just didn't really matter. And if the message that they were trying to get across did matter, then they did it very poorly. It was supposed to be about him doing it for the woman and doing it because he wants to be a bigger part of the universe. He feels he has a greater calling. But apart from when they actually say it, the flashbacks just were not it. I don't know. I just didn't like it. My last dislike was the TVA. Again, we get corrupt people from within. We saw it in season 1, in season 2, and then we get it again here. And I would have liked to see Loki's sacrifice actually help to cleanse the TVA, fix whatever issues there are there already, so we don't have to keep doing this every time we see the TVA. Another problem I had, the TVA just had different energy for Loki. Whenever he did something wrong, whenever he did something that they didn't like, within seconds they got him, they struck him down, they eliminated him, they arrested him, they did whatever it took, but they got him immediately. But in this film, whenever anyone else did something wrong, they didn't appear, or they were just too weak. For example, Cassandra, she can do whatever she wants. Deadpool, he manages to escape, kill about 30 TVA members and nothing happens. And I think just the energy and the urgency from the TVA just wasn't the same. It kind of felt forced for Loki, but not for these characters. But yeah, overall, I think everyone probably likes the film. I don't know, I haven't really read reviews and stuff. For me, it was that. It was slightly better than average, and that was it. And a lot of it comes down to Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, good collab kind of thing. But the story, non-existent. There was nothing there that makes you think, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. Even the ending, when they bring Wolverine and X-23, it's not really, they've not given you anything to really be excited about. I don't see Deadpool having another solo movie, or even like a joint movie, where he has this much screen time. I don't see him doing it ever again. I think he will appear in like Avengers and other type of group motives or settings. But yeah, as always, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd appreciate if you could hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well, as it helps to support the channel, improve the algorithm, all of that stuff. And thank you for your time. Have a great rest of your day.